The concept for ePartrade is basically, in my opinion, there's a big hole in the internet. So the internet started many years ago, but there's never been an online business community for racers on the World Wide Web. The need for ePartrade is actually quite obvious. Basically, people in the business of auto racing need a place online to hang out and to get their problems solved.
It's extremely simple for a buyer or for a supplier to interact on the platform. The first thing you need to do is sign in, which is free. And the second thing is, when you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information. If it's a company, you click on request more information, and then from there, it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
You can go to ePartrade.com, you become part of a community of businesses in racing, and it makes sourcing products much easier than just on the internet or using Google.
At ePartrade, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier through an email.
More than that, it's a place to go just to keep current every day. So it's a good place to start your workday in your racing business or in your offices of your professional race team. And you know you're current when it comes to new technology, industry news, technical papers, technical videos, all of that and more. We're not looking for a million hits per day. All we want is people who are really the volume buyers of racing products in the racing industry to be part of the little world of ePartrade. We have racing businesses participating from around the world. So you get suppliers from around the world, you get buyers from around the world.
ePartrade really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Good morning from California. It is 9 o'clock here. I am Francisque Savignan, the founder and CEO of ePartrade. Welcome to Race Industry Now, the technical and business webinar series from ePartrade, presented by ARP. With me this morning is the wonderful Judy Keane, co-founder of ePartrade, and the terrific Brad Gilley, our special host. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. I'm excited for today.
Well, it's a different one, isn't it, Judy?
Yes, it is. We've been asked to really showcase and present what we've designed here for the industry, and now we're doing it.
That is true. I was kind of like, we love this series of webinars, and we love, to put the suppliers on stage and listen to their expertise and sharing everything. And then Judy keeps saying, like, we're getting asked so often, again and again and again. So we thought, okay, why not? Let's try to do something. So this is episode 119. We had 118 tech webinars and business webinars before. And next week, we're going back to the traditional tech and business webinar series. But today we're going to talk about new technologies, online, all the cool tools that the world is offering to us today. Right, Brad?
Yes, sir. And this is a great thing. I'm really excited about the fact that we really get to talk about the platform today and everything that ePartrade has to offer. And quite honestly, I can't think of a better time, because while we have these weekly Wednesday webinars, we've got Race Industry Week coming up just right around the corner, November 29th through December 3rd. So what a better time to really showcase the platform and help people understand exactly what ePartrade can do to help you.
It's true. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so I know you have a lot of questions, Brad, and so why don't you just take over, because it's kind of like unusual for us to be here, so talk about us. So why don't you just take over, and we'll try to answer your questions the best way we can, right, Judy?
Yep. And I want everybody to feel free to ask any questions, use the chat button. That's why we're doing this presentation, to answer all those questions people have.
Yeah, this is great. Well, the title of today's webinar is a special presentation by the founders of ePartrade, or we can just call this an hour of Judy Keane presenting, because she's so comfortable in this forum. So, but all kidding aside, a lot of times people are nervous about presenting in this type of forum because it is something different. But I think one thing that we've certainly found over time is it's been a fantastic way for suppliers to connect with buyers, just like on the ePartrade website, but also showcase new products. So let's just start out, either Francis or Judy, whoever wants to answer the question first, about ePartrade, the website, the forum, everything, and why it was designed, the purpose of this.
Sure. Judy, you wanted to share your background?
This is your design, your concept.
Okay.
Let's say that one of the biggest questions I get is, what does ePartrade mean? Electronic performance and racing trade. And then people go, oh.
That's I mean, think, Brad, I mean, I'm not as smart as you are. Okay. So it took me a very long time to kind of come up with this idea, but we come from the trade show business, Julie and I. We're part of the original team that worked closely with Steve Lewis at PRI, and we were part of this, for about 20 years. And really, our stories is in the trade show trenches, if I can, use that term. And so when you look at the world 20 years ago compared to today, it has changed drastically. And we're not here to say it was better or it's better now. It's not the point. But when you look at the technologies available in today's world compared to 20 years ago, it's a whole new world. I mean, you love riding motorcycle, don't you? So 20 years ago, when you were riding your motorcycle, you used a map. Okay, you had a map. You may not even have a cell phone. Not everybody had a cell phone 20 years ago. You had public phones everywhere. You could stop, make a call for 25 cents. You had phone books. I mean, my son is 16 years old. He has never seen a phone book. Okay. So I started to wonder, with all the technologies available in today's world, could we come up with a better way, a faster way, a more efficient way, a more global way, maybe a more cost-effective way to help our industry connect all year round and globally? And that's really how ePartrade was created. And to go a little bit further into that, we were producing the wonderful PRI show, Judy and I, with Steve and John, and everybody's there. And then when SEMA acquired PRI, we were part also of the SEMA organization. So we were really in the trade show business. And so I thought, what is wonderful about shows is that connection people have. But when you do a show 3 days there, another show 2 days there, you go overseas for Motorsport or PMW or whatever it is, it's a handful of days, and there's about 50 weeks left in the year. So that's where I thought, okay, let's come up with a platform that would help the industry and all the suppliers and all the buyers to connect the 50 weeks out of the year when you don't have trade shows. That's really how ePartrade started in 2018. Now, with the pandemic and the world turning upside down, it's just a lot of things have changed, but really the goal of ePartrade is really to connect the industry worldwide all year round. And then after that, the face-to-face interaction that you have at trade shows is something you can't replace, okay? So that's really how ePartrade was created. And coming from the racing industry, PRI has three magic words. It has performance, it has racing, and it has industry. Okay, so but we couldn't do that. So we thought, okay, what can we use in our name? So that's why the ePartrade name is E for electronic, PAR for performance and racing, and then we use the word trade. So electronic performance and racing trade, and it is the global online platform for the performance and racing industry. As simple as that. So that's really the history and the concept of ePartrade and the goal of the platform.
I love the map analogy. That might be one of the best ones that I've heard before. At least to me, it relates. But I think all of us can relate to this in the same way because, yeah, you're right. I mean, I used to travel around and I had a big map sitting in front of me. Now I have 2 GPS units and my phone and everything else. It's amazing how more efficient everything is that we do today. And Judy, I know you know this as well. Whenever suppliers come up with new products, you might have had a trade show sometime in November, December in the off season, and all of a sudden someone comes out with something new in January. Well, there's not going to be another new product showcase until we get all the way till the end of the year again. Yet all throughout the year, we have suppliers coming out with new products that they're proud of, with this being a great platform to showcase exactly what you're doing, and not only for the supplier, but the buyer, if I'm looking for the latest and greatest, and the way that we can connect them through the website.
Yes, and that's something I'm very proud about on this platform because yes, we have the big suppliers that you see at both trade shows, the SCATs, the ARPs, the Molly Pistons. We see them, but I'm really proud of all the brand new racing companies, suppliers and services and distributors showcasing here first. This is really a platform that allows them to launch new racing product any time of the year. And that's what's key to this platform. It's really a trade show experience online. We are showcasing suppliers and connecting them with those high volume buyers.
I like this. You know, when it comes to just the website itself, the navigation of it is just wonderful. And when it, again, connecting suppliers and buyers and being able to, you walk through a trade show floor, some people have a great big setup, a huge display, a very large footprint. Some people might have a smaller footprint, but quite honestly, once you get on the ePartrade website, everyone can have the same footprint. You can certainly get more exposure depending on, what you want to do. But if I want to search for a specific product, for me as a buyer, it's easy to find. Francis, you want to explain a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, so that again comes, it's not only Judy and I, it's John Kilroy. No, John is staying, he doesn't want to be on camera anymore. He says, I'm too old for that. And we said, John is so great. And so he wants us to be up front now and is working in the back end. But really, Brad, what is very important to understand about what you just said is, my area of expertise has always been the international market. I was the international guy at PRI. So Steve hired me in the late 99 to develop the international market for PRI. Now, that was a crazy idea to hire a French guy to go around the world and tell people to come to the US, but it worked out beautifully. Judy was the queen of the North American market. Now, she's very shy and doesn't want people to know that, but she sold by herself pretty much half of the PRI show and half of the PRI magazine, every month. It's just like she knows everybody in the business, everybody knows Judy. And I think it's important, we always say it's who you know, but it's also as equally important who knows you, okay? So all that to say that when I was bringing international exhibitors or international buyers to our shows here, there were a couple of challenges. The first one is, the size and the scope of shows in the US are so big that seniority is a huge aspect. So you have, I remember very well, I'll give you an example, Extract, big transmission player in the market worldwide 20 years ago. They were the key players in Europe, but in America, not much. When they first came to the PRI show, they had a tiny little booth outside of the main hall, and they were used to be the big guys, over there. So it's really hard for, those newcomers to kind of be established and compete with the big long-term companies. And then on the other hand, it's kind of challenging for a buyer to fly to a big show and source product very efficiently, because shows are not really organized by product categories, by segment, etc. Again, very much seniority. SEMA does a good job at having different sections, outright and restoration, racing and performance, but you still have a mixed, okay? So really what the platform does, it allows technology to help people source more efficiently. I can show you that later. And it also put everybody on the same level, because you online, there is no seniority, there's no size of your booth, there is no anything like that. So if a new product comes in the market, like yesterday, there's a new silicone hoses company that just came on board called Extreme 14, and coming out of the UK, boom, they're right there. And they're established in 1 second. And that's very interesting, because it does level the playing field, Judy, right? Am I using the right term?
Certainly does. And I want to clarify that we have hardcore racing engine products. We have fabrication tools. We have outfitting machine shops and race shops machinery. So we really cover the full spectrum, even products at the racetrack that could be used. So it's a beautiful tool, evens the playing field. and it's great resourcing.
Sorry.
I was going to say, someone did, and I think this is a great question to sort of have a jumping off point too, as for what the ePartrade actually is. How do I buy products? And realistically, it's easy, but not necessarily through ePartrade because we're connecting here.
So this is not e-commerce. We are not an e-commerce site. Okay, you don't buy and sell on ePartrade, and that's very important and something we want to stay away. We're not an e-commerce site. We basically, Judy says it perfectly, kind of a trade show experience. Now, in the days of our trade show background, there's no financial transaction at the show. People don't go and buy and sell. They make orders, they make deals, etc. So the platform is designed to connect the suppliers and the buyers, and we can show you that later how it works, and vice versa. And then after that, you do your own deal. So if you see a product on the platform from ARP or Dart or whoever it is, and you want to buy it from them through the platform, you connect directly with them.
Yeah. So pretty much a buyer and somebody that would have an attendee badge would be walking up and down the aisles of shows. They could do the same concept on this platform. And like Francis said, you see an item from SCAT, a crankshaft that you have interested, you have questions, you want to become a dealer, you're looking for somebody to private label for you, you push that button, that email goes straight to the admin over there. You guys conduct your business off the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's interesting when you're going through the website. The one thing that I really like about this is, look, if I'm going to search for something that I want at my house, I may hop on Google or do something like that. But if I'm looking for something specifically within this industry, this is where ePartrade really comes into play in a big way. Francis, you talk about, kind of navigating the website and different things that you can do as a buyer, but as a supplier, how you can actually get noticed to a very specific form of customer. This isn't just a generic search where we're going to see all kinds of things. We're talking to racers. We're talking to people who are looking for very specific things, and the way you can narrow searches down as well when you're on the platform.
Yes, absolutely. I can show you that shortly after, and that's very important. Google is a search engine, as you mentioned, for absolutely everything. So John Kilroy used that example all the time. He says you go on Google, you type Pistons, and you get a basketball team. Now, Google it's very important to understand two things about Google. It's first SEO, search engine optimization, and PPC, pay-per-click. I'm sure people listening to us have always ever been on Google and you type Southwest Airlines, for example, or Delta Airlines, and the first thing that pops up is Expedia or a search engine, because they buy those names. Okay, so if you're not on the first page of Google, you don't exist. So Google is great for our daily life to find stuff, but really to source racing products, this is not designed for that. As a matter of fact, Judy is based in Orange County with John and a little office in Orange County, and the main office of ePartrade is in LA, where I'm based. This is the city of the show business, okay? And the people in the show business, they have a platform called IMDb, International Movie Database. And you have, general public things, and then you have a B2B side. And people in the industry, they use that platform all the time for everything, because that's where everything is. And kind of, when we design ePartrade, I always refer to that platform, because the goal is to make the ePartrade platform kind of like, the tool that everybody in the industry use to source product and display technology, etc.
Let's, Francis, if you would, maybe sort of define the way ePartrade works, because let's say I have a company, I have some products. There are several different ways that I could actually present them to the audience here. When I say the audience, it might be someone just searching through, or it might be someone who is joining us for one of these webinars as well. But I could have my page, I could be a feature. We could do a webinar, some of the different ways that I can showcase my product.
Yeah, let me show you. I'm going to have to put my glasses, because we talked about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I did not need glasses for computers, but now I kind of need. So let me put my glasses. I'm going to share my screen with you and show you just very simple little things there and there, because as you said, it's very intuitive. So you can go on ePartrade and start playing with it. So let me share my screen, if you don't mind, 1 second. So can you see it? Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice is if you click on that product, as soon as you want more information, you start clicking around, it's just going to ask you to register. Okay, very much kind of like Judy says it perfectly. It's like you have to have a badge to enter a trade show. Here, same story. So let me just log in. And now I am logged in. So you can see my name here at the top. Okay. So that's really the first thing you have to do. Registration is free. We can show you that later. And it's you just have to be part of the industry to have access to the platform. So on the home page, we have different sections. I can go through it very quickly. You have a new first section, new product and services. Now, this is probably our most visited section. And again, the number one reason buyers go to a show is to find new products. So this is really why we put this at the top. And if you're interested in Fuel Lab, all you need to do is you click here. You can look at different pictures here. And if you want more information and connect with them, you simply click here and that connects you with Fuel Lab. Or you can go to the company, see who they are, what they do. You can actually ask a question, says, are you looking for new dealers? And send submit, anything you want to do with it. So that's the first section. We have a section with product and service spotlight, works exactly the same way. And Brad, the best way to describe it is really not everyone has new product to introduce to the market every day. Okay. However, you have a lot of companies that have tons of products that they would like to showcase on the platform. So again, this one, we're talking about dart and sleeve. You click here, same story. You can look at the different pictures they have in here. You can connect with them here. You can ask a question here, or you can simply go to all the products that are featured on the platform. And I think there's close to 3,000 products that are featured here. You can search by keyword, by product categories. You can click here. We're mentioning about that new companies that came in yesterday, Extreme 14. Hey, never heard about them? You can connect with them here or there. Simple as that. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because anyone can go on the platform and start playing around. But really, we designed this with our experience of being in the trade show business for 25 years. Okay. And the third section is about videos and tech webinar. And that's where we put all our tech webinars. Like every week we have produced 118 so far. So a supplier can, showcase a video, factory tour, demo, installations, tip, anything they want. Ineos, that's sport compact and lubricant companies from Japan that's very involved in sport compact here in the States. They have a little video here. You can watch it and you can connect with them anytime you want. So this is, we live in the world of social media, and videos have a very important part of it. And when we touch the tech webinar series, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Then we have a section that is about offers and promotion. Okay, so for example, if you have a supplier that has a special promotion, G&G Technique right there have a special promotion until October 28th. You can go on their website here. You can connect with them here directly, or you can simply go to all the promotion. Very simple, very intuitive. Industry resources, this is where we put all the brochures, all the catalogs. This is an industry that loves catalogs, okay? Again, when we're in the trade show business, we had buyers that had bags full with catalogs. But those catalogs are heavy. Here, in 1 second, you can basically download the brochure from that company we just talked about, and you click here, and you have the old Ineos catalogs right there at your fingertips. You can print it, save it, use it anytime you want. And that's a very efficient way of having access to brochure. I think we have same thing. You can search by keywords, anything you want. We have a section with technical articles. So this is more techy. It can be a case study. It can be installation tips. It can be anything they want. Again, you click here. You can download the whole things. Request for proposal, this is for buyers, it's the other way around for buyers, and we can show you that later, that has a special need. So here, I think there is a recent one from a timing and monitoring system. So the company posts an RFP and supplier can respond to it. And we have a section with job post. There is a new job offer in Indy from Bell. You click here and you can connect with them, directly. So really, it's very simple. A section with new products, product spotlight, video, offers and promotion, brochure, technical article. Last part is industry news. Those are news about the industry. We publish news, pretty much every day. So that's kind of.
Step in here. I just want to simplify it even further, Francis, that all those items on the home page are really the elements that you would have in an exhibit booth that you'd be displaying. So that's how we kind of look at it. Your new products, your regular product line that you're showcasing, your technical papers, catalogs, so it really simplifies showcasing.
And the algorithm are designed to push the latest content always to the top. So if a supplier that's on the platform right now puts a new catalog, a new brochure, or even an older one or whatever, but they update that, it goes right there to the front. And we usually pick that to put on a newsletter. Judy can talk later about our newsletter, but that's really how it works. And that's really designed to keep buyers and suppliers engaged.
The great thing about this is my feet already feel much better because, having had the trade show experience from both, working with suppliers, but also walking the floors, if you're going out there to walk the floor, you're going to look at the map, you're going to try and pick and choose, how am I going to lay out my day today? But I'm going to be there over the course of 4 or 5 days, whatever it might be. I look at it this way, and everything you just explained me, if I was a buyer, how easy it is to find things. Well, if I'm a supplier, how easy it is for my buyers to find me and all of the different ways they can do that. The brochures being on there, fantastic. Like you said, you walk around, by the end of the day, your feet already hurt, but now you're carrying a bunch of things. Instead, I can go check this out later this afternoon when I get comfortable at home after dinner this evening. If I'm looking for something, I can do all of this. It really is amazing the depth of what you have that truly does replicate the trade show experience, but online 24/7 every single day of the year.
Let me show you another thing, Brad. That's just going to be, that's much deeper. And that's really what we call smart sourcing. That's kind of like what we design to help people source product more efficiently. And that came again from my past and Judy's past experience in the show business. I used to, again, help international exhibitors, but also international buyers to come to our show. Now, if you imagine you're flying out of New Zealand, Australia, or Sweden, and you arrive for the first time, SEMA at PRI, and you want to see all the suppliers of racing brake pads or whatever. Where do you start? You have a show guide that looks like the yellow pages. It's full of, it's just like all over the place, and you just walk and walk and walk. It's really, really challenging. And people don't always understand that, but international buyers spend sometimes more money to be at a show here than regional exhibitors who buy a little 10 by 10, go home every night and stuff. Those international buyers, they are away from the office for a week, international flights, hotel, restaurant, and taxis, Uber, whatever it is, they spend thousands of dollars to come here and source products. So you have to help them and do, make the sourcing more efficient and easier. And that's why we had those international lounge at PRI, where we basically were there to help them as well. Let me show you. So this is where the idea of smart sourcing was created. So let me take you into an example here. So if you go on the platform here at the top, you can, again, look at all the featured product. But if you want to put yourself, imagine you're Brad Gilly, you are a distributor of racing brakes in Brazil, okay? And you want to source racing brakes. So you click here on search products. I mean, you can search through the entire database or by section. Okay, you see that chassis component, that's where most of the brake suppliers will be listed. You click here, and the system is just going to ask you to search through a different product category. So you start typing brake, okay? But it's not just going to be brake. You're going to have to choose, okay? You said, I want brake caliper. I want brake disc. I'm interested in brake fluid. Let's say brake pads, whatever brake related brake component. You press enter. And within seconds, you get the list. So that smart sourcing technology, we apply that in the same thing here in the search suppliers or search buyer. And really here, what we do is we help buyers connect with suppliers, but also vice versa. So imagine we're using the example of Brad Gilly being, Brad Gilly Motorsport distribution, or, looking for brake components. Now, imagine you're looking for suppliers, okay? Here, you have access to about 28,000 businesses worldwide, 6,600 suppliers worldwide, Brad. To give you an idea, is we're going to go back pre-pandemic, okay, in the heydays of the trade show world. 2,500 exhibitors at SEMA, 1,250 at PRI. Okay, well, when you do an event, you are limited because of the size of a convention center. Not everybody can be there. When you're online, you don't have walls to fit in. You don't have borders to deal with. So 6,600 suppliers worldwide, it's gigantic, okay? And you can search in by name, by country, by anything you want. You're interested in ACL, you click here and simply connect with them anytime you want. Very easy, very efficient. So Brad Gilly as a distributor, damn, how do I connect with ACL? Boom, in one click, you're right there.
Francis, real quick, if you wouldn't mind going back to that, I think one thing that is really neat to highlight when you're looking at ACL, it also mentions in what forms of racing that they are, so motorcycle racing, sports endurance, stock car racing, the way that's laid out answers so many questions before they need to even be asked.
Okay, so this is a very important point. However, we don't manage that. The suppliers does it. Exactly like when Judy used to sell a booth to, let's say, Sun Machine, okay? They display what they want in their booth. They present the company the way they want. Here, we give them tools and they do it themselves. So some put all segments, some are more specific, but it's the job of the supplier that has an upgrade on the platform to basically, manage it and present it the way they want. And that's very important because we don't interact. That's not our job. We're market
makers. We do help people upload items because half the world in our industry is not techie. I'm not techie. I've got people, but a lot of companies can upload their own items and everything. The other half, we scoop up the items and upload for them. So we're just providing that good old customer service, but they should manage this top half because they are the experts on their own company.
Well, right now in the chat, there's a comment from Jeffrey Groves. It says, we're looking forward to bringing artificial intelligence offers to the market for sure. Excited about what you're creating here. Zach is adding categories in the background right now. Machine learning, computer programming, cloud engineering. This is a great example of, hey, here's what we do. And here's what I'm doing right now to upload, to basically say, this is what we are. These are the products we offer. Here's how I can be searched with my product if someone is looking for something like that. There are so many different ways to find someone on here, and there's so many different ways to be found if you're a supplier as well.
And Jeffrey's a perfect example. He saw this, the walkthrough about a week ago, maybe two, maybe last week, but he signed up. He understands the reach that we make, and he is the prime example of what he brings as technology, and we're going to showcase to the industry.
Absolutely. And let me show you another example. And after that, I'll stop here because, it's more fun for people to go and do it themselves. That same technology we applied to the buyer segment here. Okay. So you have about, 19,000 businesses, not individual businesses listed as buyers, and about 25 or so 100 professional race team, 26. So now imagine you are Brad Gilly, manufacturer of engine parts, like let's say connecting rods, okay, you can actually go on the platform and say, hey, is there any buyers that have interest in connecting rods? And you press enter and you find 257 active ones that are looking for this. 66 here, Adams Automotive, Carmel Automotive, Allison Racing. You click here and you do have the ability to connect and engage with them anytime you want. Okay, now doesn't mean like people sometimes what they want, and we used to have that issue in the old days of PRI, and we stopped that in 2009. We used to give the exhibitor the list of the attendees, okay, and all they wanted to do is go and spam people. So this is not, you cannot go on here, download list and start spamming people. This is not designed for that. This is just designed to say you are a specific supplier, you have a specific product. You see that there are some buyers that have selected those product categories. You have the ability to connect with them or not. Now, on the buyer side, and this is very important, people, you have to make it simple and easy when they join the platform. So the registration is very simple, very basic. We ask, name, first name, last name, email, phone number, and we associate you to a company. Most of likely your company will be in the system and you choose to join the company or to be the admin. If you join the company, you just have an account and nothing else to do, and you can play with the platform. If you are the admin of the company, it means you have the ability to change your profile, modify the company description, put the product categories you're interested in, etc. So some buyers have admin because they want to have, their profile listed and everything perfect. Others are just users because they use the platform like that. Okay. So if the buyer has an admin, you're able to see more information about the company profile. And if they just have users, they're listed right there by categories, dealers, fabricators, engine builders, tuners. And again, you can filter, the platform is full of filters. So you can search, buyers, that's an engine builders that's located in North Carolina that has interest in suspension, or you can work the other way around, a supplier in Nevada that's manufacturing dynos, whatever it is. And that's really this was designed again to help facilitate the sourcing process.
We have OEMs. I have HPD, TRD, General Motors, manufacturer reps, small engine builders, large engine builders. I've got professional race teams on here. We covered the scope. And we don't want the big high consumer numbers. We are the very fine-tuned industry players and leaders in this on this platform. So and we cover every facet of racing. We even cover tractor pulling. Of course, we have F1 on here, sprints and midgets, every facet of racing, marine. I'm trying to think of the ones that you don't think of that often, but just like the show that we used to work at, we cover the scope of every type of racing.
Well, and we've had people on the webinars as well that make fans that could be brake cooling fans in NASCAR, but they could also be cooling fans that are used in off-road applications. Same people, same parts and products, but just a different, discipline of racing and a whole different customer base in that regard. Yet they're providing, their customer base really crosses multiple forms of racing with their specific products.
Yes, exactly right. And you've seen all the noted guests on these technical webinars. There's been a heavy amount of off-road racing right now because that's, it spikes up and it's just, that's where the industry is right now. But yeah, you've seen it.
All right, a quick question from the panel, and this would be a good one for you to answer, Judy. It says, I've been working on engines for nearly 15 years. I'm starting to manufacture my own gaskets, but I'd still like to use the site to search other products. Is there a way I can be on as a buyer and also host my products?
Yes. So first, we should just get you on there as a buyer so you can reach out, push that button if you have questions with other manufacturers. Absolutely. Then if you reach out to us, we could also make you as a supplier as well. We do that for everybody. So yes, in a heartbeat, we'll do that.
It's interesting, just looking through, Francis mentioned when you go to a trade show and you get the big catalog, Some people might have a name that literally what they do is in their name, CE Pistons or something like that. But, here's 920 Engineering, for example, air shifters, brake calipers, brake components, brake disc, a lot with brakes, but, air shifters. Here, I'm looking for a specific product and the company names pop up. As opposed to if I know the company, that's great. I'm going to go to them and find them. But all of a sudden I might be looking for something and not realize that, oh, I know them for this, but they also make this. When I'm looking for products, I'm looking for what I need and all the company names pop up as opposed to me seeing company names and going, okay, what do they do? Yes.
Yeah. You're going to find the full gamut on here. We have different function keys that a general search. Is it K&N Engineering? Is it K&N Performance? I just put in K&N, they all pop up. You could put in pistons, and then, you'll have piston pins, piston rings. So there are general searches on this platform that I personally use that button all the time, all day. So it's very resourceful.
Yeah, if you search pistons, by the way, you're going to get brake parts, you're going to get engine parts. There's a lot of things that use pistons. In your mind, you might be thinking, I'm rebuilding an engine. But then you're allowed to narrow that search to engine components or brake components or whatever it might be.
Yeah, Brad, too, we have probably well over 1,000 product categories. And I've had so many new companies come on board that we have added additional products because it's always evolving. There's always new products. So I'm always coming across different terms. After 23 years of doing this job, so what's that? You need to add that category on here. So I'm very proud of all the newness because what that does, it keeps the buyers continuously coming back to the platform. We just took the format that Steve Lewis started PRI and we applied it to this platform, the same concept.
Question from the chat, which is a great one while we're talking about this. Can the segments of market and company profile section be customized by the user?
Yeah. So no, wait, yes and no. You have to choose. We have some product categories and some segment that are predetermined, and you have to fit within those. Now, if you are a specific company that has something very specific, and you can request to add product categories. That's very easy. Segment of the market. The beauty of being online, Brad, is you can change things anytime you want. That's the beauty of it. And Judy will tell you the platform gets better every day. Every day there is a new product or a new supplier or a new buyer or a new product categories or a new, whatever it is, a combination of everything, and it grows organically. And the more people use it, the more people take advantage of it, the better it becomes. And that's exactly the whole thing here.
Well, can we talk about the webinars just a little bit? Because this is a wonderful thing that we're doing on Wednesdays. And as we mentioned, we've got Race Industry Week coming up end of November, beginning of December, which is going to be a lot of fun. And, we talked about this week that we've had a lot of great companies, a lot of great products and suppliers with special guests talk about what they do, be able to have that trade show experience. I always use the analogy that if you have a booth at a trade show and I told you you could talk to 80 to 300 people, but only use 1 hour of your time, what would that, would you do that? And it's like, yeah, and that's what we're able to do here with the webinars. And obviously these are working and these are important, which is why today is an ePartrade webinar, because a lot of people have questions about the site and how they do it, how they present. But when it comes to hosting the webinars every week, how does one go about that? If I've got something that I want to literally talk about my product, I'm the one who has the passion for it. How do I get that going?
Judy, you want to explain?
Well, we started about, let's say, last August, I believe, and Lake Speed, we were talking to Lake Speed, and he was saying this is a great opportunity to do this. So we really learned the concept from him. And what we started doing was we want to give a lot of value to our upgraded suppliers. Those newsletters that you see, those are all upgraded, added value items, the banners, the products. Also, these tech webinars right now. So we are every single Wednesday providing technical webinars, and our audience likes tech. The more engineering type, the more comments, great comments we get from our companies. I speak to somebody over at TRD and they tell me which tech webinars they love. So this is something that we have been offering, and I'm telling you, we have hundreds. Sometimes we have 350 people register for one tech webinar. You cannot talk to that many people in one day at a trade show. So
in 1 week.
yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. We had Freya on along with Total Seal. We are booked till the end of the year already. We're starting to have to double up on these. So we did our first double a couple months ago with Total Seal and also Freya. Each one had over 100 people on for the full hour. These people are on asking questions. They are engaged. And that's something that we're very proud of, something extra that we're doing for our suppliers.
And if I can add one thing, Brad, I would say that it went back. Actually, the first one, Judy, was end of June last year. That's when we did our first one. And I was coming when it was the peak of the pandemic. You know, it was just like shows were getting canceled, and what else could we do? And people started to use Zoom, and Zoom. It's not the question of you like it or you don't. And sometimes you hear people, I'm tired of Zoom. Okay. Yes, but what a fascinating tool, how easy it is, okay? Every week we have produced 118, this is 119, where we bring people and we bring experts that they basically, when last week, Malay Piston, okay, 180 people sign up. Joe, great expert in piston technology. The week before, leg speed with Total Seal and Rottler, brilliant expert in the same 200 and something RSVP. And so you can listen to these people, ask questions. And what is fascinating, and John Kilroy said it perfectly when we did Race Industry Week last year I'm sorry, I've got
Racer.com.
No, of course, racer.com, but we had, all those wonderful people on, and it feels like, you're sitting in here and you're listening to Roger Penske and you feel he's talking to you, and that's really, and if I can go back again to my trade show days, I used to go around the world, Brad, with PowerPoint presentation about the US market and the globalization of the industry. So I would fly to England many times with our good friend Chris Ellett from the MRA. I would rent a little hotel room, a meeting room in a hotel, invite 100 people, 30 would show up and do a full presentation of the US racing market, globalization of the industry, and blah, blah, blah. And we would bring people back to PRI. Now, imagine the time, the cost of doing those, okay? Steve was very supportive and pushed me to do all of that, but flying overseas, renting a car, driving across the country, renting the hotel place, giving people a little lunch or coffee or whatever, and coming back, okay, on Zoom, you register 200 people and, everybody's right there. If they can't do it, the next hour they have the recording. What a great tool. Okay, why not taking advantage of it? And that's really what we're doing here. And so we invite our suppliers. This is an added value. And this is a wonderful tool. And you have hosted so many, Brad, and cover so many topics. And what I find fascinating with you, because we talked a lot about us, but I think with you and Jeff is your ability to switch from driver safety to suspension to engine ports to machine and be as very comfortable and doing such a wonderful job.
The best thing for me, and honestly, I would just love to give just a few examples of what I've seen during these tech webinars. 2 weeks ago, when we had Total Seal and Rottler on here, and we're talking about, basically honing cylinder walls and plateau, and all of these different things. First of all, you learn so much, things that you just simply didn't know. But Lake Speed, Junior pulled up a measuring tool, for basically measuring the texture of the cylinder wall. The next thing I see in the chat, people are asking, hey, wait, what is that? Where do I get one of those? What's the model number? Things like that. A few weeks before
Where do I buy it? Where do I buy it?
Where do I buy it? A few weeks before, and he was like, you go to Total Seal, they can get you one. A few weeks before that, we had Fluid Logic on here, which is just a phenomenal new product about hydrating racers while they're inside of the race car. I actually reached out to them afterwards because, you know, you mentioned me. I love long distance motorcycling. I'm going to ride to Las Vegas here in a couple of weeks. And I was like, do you have an application for something like that? And it's something that they're working on, you know, connected a buyer with a supplier in that regard. And seeing other people on here, all of a sudden they're trading emails in the chat and they're doing different things, and literally watching business happen during a 1-hour tech webinar, and people discovering not only new products, but things that they didn't know about existing products. And I think that's just been such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, Brad, I actually had Tony Uri Jr. Fury race cars on here that did all the SRX racing and all that. And literally during the Zoom presentation, somebody asked to become a dealer. He told me somebody contacted him afterwards on Facebook, watched, they want to buy a race car. It is so fun to see it happening right in front of you.
Yeah, and it's happening every week. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's just that's the beauty of it. And that's, again, the audience here is B2B. It's the industry. This is not, those webinars are not designed for my 16 years old, even if he likes racing. This is not for him, okay? And what is very, very, and I want to reinforce the word very important, the live part of the webinar is only the beginning, okay? So we record the webinar, we post it on the platform. Let me show you too where it is, because I think it's important. Some people ask sometime. You go here, you can go anytime on ePartrade, you click on Race Industry Now. Okay, you have the next episode, and then watch past episode. You have every single one is right here. And you want to watch this one, you click here, and you can watch it on the platform. And that's very important. So we have a library that is full of wonderful experts, and you can see the numbers after that, because it's linked on YouTube, how many views those webinars are getting, in the hundreds. Again, this is not, we're not Beyonce, okay? We're not in the millions of views or hits. But it really, when you go on the YouTube channel and you see that webinar that got 800 or 900 views, you know those are the right people. Who is going to watch a coding webinar for an hour unless you're pro, okay? And then the supplier gets the link, and sometimes they push it on their social media, on their, they send emails, newsletter, etc. And I think Fuel Tech is the one that's holding the record, has like 2,500 views on their tech webinars. And again, those are the views you want, And yes, that's the right people. And so that's really something
These
we're very
webinars have a whole lifespan on their own.
Well, can we talk about Race Industry Week? Because last year was just an amazing, wild success. And it is more than even just tech webinars, because it is a whole racing industry week. Some of the different people that we had on here as guests, I mean, some major players in the racing industry, first of all, but also some major suppliers. And again, when we start talking about different and new products, I mean, Judy, you remember you and I talked about this, we spent 30 minutes talking about radiator fans, and the guy who makes the adjustable radiator fans. It was great. It was fascinating to see all the different products and people on it.
Yeah, Brad, I don't know how we're going to top next year. We will, but last year was just, I felt like I went to a trade show. I know all trade shows were canceled, but between us and racer.com with Paul Fanner, we produced that. I was lucky, so blessed to have you and Jeff join us, and then for that week, and then afterwards. But we put together great industry leaders, panels to be interviewed, like USAC, World of Outlaws. We had racetracks on here. It was a who's who. And we are preparing for this year. We already have suppliers asking. We have a list of suppliers that are holding spaces during that week. So last year was a good one, 55 hours.
And I think it's important to, so we work very closely with racer.com on that, and Racer Magazine, and Paul Fanner, and all the great people there, which we have known. Again, we used to have offices next to each other in Laguna Beach. That's how it used to be. And that's why we have known Paul for many, many years. This year, we're going to do also a special effort in covering the international markets, because the biggest problem right now, and we're not here to address any political issues or whatever, but if you are a foreigner, you can come to the US. And if you're US, you can go to Europe, and something Australian can come here. It's a nightmare. It really is. The COVID has put some tremendous issues on. Like I spoke with Yves Morisot, great friend from Stand 21, 1 or 2 weeks ago. He has an office here in California with employees and a house. He hasn't been able to come to America for almost 2 years. Okay, we ACL that we just saw on same thing. They're based in Australia. They have people here in the US, but the Australians haven't been able to come here. So really, what we're going to do is special effort to really help all these people that do not have the ability to fly in and out of their own countries. And same thing for buyers. Good friend Jacquemin, a big distributor in France, he used to come to America probably 3 or 4 times a year, during the trade shows, but also visit their customers. I know he worked very closely with Cometic Gasket, and he used to go and visit them. Hasn't been in probably 2 years now, and that's a really big issue for people. And so we're probably going to put an extra effort in helping people to connect during that week.
Yeah, I like the international aspect is a huge thing, and it was really entertaining last year to also watch that as well, and just the different products that we have and the way people present as well. There is a question from the chat: how do you keep non-industry people from registering on the website? Look, there's a lot of people who would love to go to some of these trade shows, but what is the policy with that?
Very easy. Okay, imagine you work for ARP, you're Brad Gilly at ARP.com, you sign in and you join ARP, your email match the domain, you approve in 1 second. Okay, now you Brad Gilly at yahoo.com and you say, I have a race team called Brad Racing, and you try to register. We ask you, proof of business, exactly like we used to do at PRI. You have a website, you have a Facebook page, you have a Instagram page, whatever it is. Give us something that shows you in the industry. And if you're not, you just don't have access to it. Registration is free. I mean, the only way we are generating revenue at ePartrade is when a supplier upgrades. Okay, so when a supplier upgrades, that's how, exactly like a trade show, we sell booth, but the attendees are free badges to work the show. If you're not in the business, you don't enter. And that's exactly how we used to manage that at PRI. And then if we need to call people, we have a buyers outreach team, and they call the people and just say, can you give us more information about your business? And love to give you access. But if you don't fit the industry, you just don't. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And that speaks volumes to basically the quality of people that are on there. When you mention, hey, it might be 800 hits, but you're selling something that might have an audience of 800 people or maybe even less. But when it comes to the quality of people who are on the website, these are your buyers, these are your suppliers.
Exactly.
So, well, registering for the site, you mentioned it's free. Just in closing here, let's talk about how some people can, number one, get on the site. If I'm a supplier, what do I need to do? If I want to do the newsletter, if I want to do a tech webinar, what are some of the steps to be able to get that going?
Judy, you want to address that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can again show you very quickly on the platform. So registration, well, let's address like showing on the platform. So if you're a supplier like Fuel Lab, okay, and you would like to showcase, think of it, I would like to have a booth, okay? So there's an upgrade now here page. You get a lot of added value, newsletter, everything like newsletter, tech webinar, all that is included in the packages, and you can select different packages, basic, standard. So it goes from $139 to $599, and you can put, limited amount of product or as many product as you want. This is more for the big WDs, the Turn 14, the Motor State, have hundreds of products. And again, even if you have a smaller package, you can have access to your profile, and you can change and update your products anytime you want. Okay, so if you are interested in this, Judy and Zach, I mean, and myself, we had to, address that on a case per case basis, but I'm not here to really do a sales pitch. So I think it's more like if you're interested, you can contact us directly, or you can even purchase your own upgrade online directly. And as far as the registration, I can show you that very quickly, Brad. You go
the
here.
majority of customers that have come online too, we have taken your credit card, put it on the back end, activated you, and we have uploaded your items. We just ask that you just double check us.
Yep.
But we're here to do that.
And
Peterson oil pumps coming on today, so we're going to deal with this later.
So registration, you click here, okay, first name, last name, email, password, select supplier. If you think you're going to be displaying on the platform, think again of a booth, selling racing business. If you're more like a dealer, distributors, engine builders, tuner, fabricators, you'll be using the platform to source products, something for race team. So you start typing your company here, and most likely your names will pop up somewhere, and whatever, Jackson Motorsport, you are director, a CEO, whatever, a manager, you click claim if you're going to be managing the profile of the company, or simply join if you just want to be a user. If you click join, boom, in 1 second, you're approved and you have full access to the platform. If you choose to be the admin, we ask you to fill up the company profile, address, website, product, etc., just to have a complete profile. But if you're just a user, you have access to it. Just think of an attendee badge.
It really is a wonderful thing. And even for people who are presenting on a webinar, be it in a weekly one or Race Industry Week, whatever it might be, the other great thing too is you have the ability to promote your own product to your own customers as well. Just like if you would at a trade show, you're inviting people to come see you. You can invite people to come see you here. Once that's done, as you mentioned, Francis, these live on the web. You have someone who's interested, send them a link. This is a tech webinar we did 6 months ago. If you want to find out a little bit more detail about this product, if you have more questions, why don't you look at this, and then I'll follow up with you, however it might be. But it's a great opportunity for you to really add something to it and push your product out to people, especially if people are, new to what you're doing.
Yeah, and Brad, I want to mention GMS Racing out there in Statesville, North Carolina. I've been there where you live. And they're a race car team. They're a car fabricator, but they also are showcasing their chassis. So they, we made them a supplier as well. And we had a question about that earlier. So we just create that account for you as well. But I just wanted to bring that up because that is unique to our industry. Sometimes a buyer could also fall into the supplier side.
Mm-hmm.
And one other thing too important, suppliers buy from each other very often, so it's more of you really have to understand this industry to really, offer a service that makes sense. And one last thing I would probably say is the platform never sleeps, it's always on. That's the beauty of it. So when we go to bed in California, people in Europe are waking up, or when we go in the evening here, it's the Australian, Japanese, and people. It's always on, never stops.
And the great thing about the webinars is, again, we come to the end of an hour thinking, gosh, if we only had a couple more hours to continue to talk about what we're doing. I mean, it's a great opportunity because once you start talking about your own business and once you start talking about what you have a passion for, whatever it might be, it's really easy just to keep going and keep talking about it. Like I know we could here, but I know we keep these very digestible as well and make it easy for people to go back and look at them.
Sure. Absolutely. We can go over on ours.
For sure. Well, Francis, Judy, is there anything else that maybe we didn't hit on here that you feel, maybe some of the questions you get as you're talking to people throughout the industry that we might not have touched on?
Well, I think we touched the concept of it. And if there are questions in there that we did not answer, feel free to pick up the phone and call us. We're happy to answer and get back to you. That's it for me. I just want to thank you, Brad. You are the best at what you do. And I listen in and tune in every Monday to the late shift and listen to you and Jeff. And anytime I hear your voice, I always tune in. So
Well, thank you very much. This is when I wake up on Wednesday mornings for the tech webinars, this is one of the greatest things. And then when I get newsletters, and I'm sort of a tech geek for all of these things, I see different products
Good.
on there. I can't help but sometimes sitting and clicking through all of them. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I know
Those
Jeff does the same. Jeff looks at the newsletter and he shows people, I didn't know about this gadget. So I know those newsletters are working.
they are going to pretty close to 61,000 people around the world now. Yeah, that's a lot. So anyway, but thank you very much for being with us today. We will be back next Wednesday. We're going to go back to the normal tech webinars. We're going to be joined by the wonderful people from FSC. We're going to talk fire extinguisher and safety equipment for race cars. And the webinar will be hosted by Jeff Hammond. And then we'll see you right in 2 weeks. And we're going to be talking turbos with full race when you come back. So thank you very much. And again, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you everyone for tuning in.
Bye.
Registering on ePartrade is easy. Fill out your name, email, phone number, and create a secure password. Next, select your business type. Choose supplier if you're looking to display products or services and connect with buyers. Choose racing business if you're looking to find new parts and connect with suppliers. Choose race team if you own or are a member of a professional racing team. Begin typing your company name. We most likely already have your company in our database, which you can select from the drop-down. Then, enter your job title. Choose Claim Company if you'll be editing your company profile. Other members of your company can choose Join Company if they'd like to use ePartrade as well. You can view and agree to our terms of use here. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, choose Accept. Click Register Now, and your registration will be submitted for approval. You'll need to confirm your email once it goes through. To keep our platform industry only, you'll be approved shortly after. If we require additional proof of business, we'll reach out. Welcome to ePartrade.